Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to look at two stories that had totally captivated online audiences. And on the surface, they seem completely different. One's meant to make you laugh, and the other, well, it's meant to make you think. So, on one side, you've got this wild slapstick comedy skit. It's all about a daughter-in-law's prank that just completely backfires. And then on the other side, we have this really somber, almost heavy religious tale about a mother who makes a truly tragic choice. So, a comedy and a tragedy, what could they possibly have in common, right? Well, that's what we're going to unpack. Because if you look just a little bit deeper, past all the laughs and the tears, you find this surprisingly similar message about a woman's place in the family.
All right, first up, the prankster daughter-in-law. Case study 1, a comedy of errors.
Okay, so first, let's meet Pooja. She's the star of this viral comedy video, and her life is basically this constant, totally over-the-top battle with her husband and, you guessed it, her mother-in-law. And the whole tone is set right away with these just cartoonish insults. You know, stuff like, hey, you daughter of a monkey? It just immediately throws you into the complete chaos of this household. Now, the main problem here is that Pooja's mother-in-law is coming back from a trip. Pooja calls this a misfortune that's going to ruin her whole year. So what's her grand plan to deal with this crisis? Well, it's a plan that's as simple as it is, let's just say, deeply flawed. Okay, so here's her grand plan. Step 1. She finds out her mother-in-law is going to be traveling on a dirt road. Step 2. She digs a giant ditch right in the middle of it. The idea, right, is that her mother-in-law will fall in, have to turn back, and Pooja can just go home and pretend she knows nothing. It's this classic, almost childish prank, her kind of desperate attempt to reclaim her own space. But, of course, things don't go according to plan. An unexpected rainstorm rolls in and fills the ditch with water. Suddenly, it's not a funny prank anymore. It's a hidden, seriously dangerous trap. And guess what? Her mother-in-law's auto drives right into it. And she gets caught. Yep, the whole thing is on CCTV. So Pooja's little prank gets exposed, and she's confronted by her husband and her mother-in-law, who is, by some miracle, totally unharmed. This leads right to the climax of the story, and you know what's coming, a pretty swift and harsh judgment from the family. And that's it. For her little comedic rebellion, she gets kicked out. No discussion, just take your belongings and get out of here. A very clear, very final exile from the family. Okay, so that's story number 1. Now let's switch gears completely for our second case study, the mother who fled. And just a heads up, the tone is about to shift. A lot. We're going from comedy straight into tragedy. Here, we meet Zainab. And the first thing we hear from her is this heartbreaking line to her 2 young kids. You two are ominous, the biggest obstacles in my life. Right away, you understand she sees her own children as just barriers to her freedom. So, remember Pooja's petty little prank? Well, Zainab's rebellion is on a whole different level. It's a profound transgression. She feels trapped, so she abandons her children to run away with her lover, thinking she's off to start some new, better life. She completely abandons her maternal duties. But that new life, it goes south and fast. This timeline really shows her downfall. The same year she leaves, her lover's farm burns down and he calls her a curse. 6 years later, he marries someone else. And not long after that, he just throws her out, leaving her completely homeless. It's just this long, slow, devastating spiral into ruin. And here's the really crucial part, the incredible contrast. While Zainab's life is falling apart, what happens to the children she left behind? They don't just survive, they thrive. They go from abandoned kids to prosperous, respected adults. It's a complete reversal of fortunes. So years later, Zainab comes back, but she's an unrecognizable beggar on the street. And in the ultimate tragic irony, she ends up receiving charity from her own kids, who have no idea who she is. They just see a stranger. It's this complete, final separation from the very family she chose to leave. Okay, 2 very different paths, but one exit. Let's put these 2 stories right next to each other and see where they connect. And this is where it all clicks into place. Just look at this breakdown. You've got Pooja and Zainab. Their conflicts are different, domestic duty versus maternal duty. Their actions, a petty rebellion versus a major transgression. The genre, slapstick comedy versus religious tragedy. But look at that last row. The outcome is exactly the same: family exile. That's the takeaway. The verdict is the same: exile. Both women push back against their expected family roles. One did it as a joke, the other as a great sin, and for that, they were both kicked out, expelled. So, what's the shared consequence here? Well, in both stories, the women are seen as these disruptive forces, and their removal is what brings order back to the family. The family just moves on without them. It's a really clear message, right? It reinforces this boundary of what is and isn't acceptable behavior.
So this brings us to the big question. Why do these stories go viral? What is it about these modern fables, one a comedy and one a tragedy, that resonates so much with people online today?
Well, it's because they're basically modern fables. They work the same way old fables did, just packaged for the digital age. Whether it's through comedy or tragedy, as you can see, they both serve the same function. They reinforce social norms. They teach a lesson about cultural values and where the boundaries are. Yeah, they're really just two sides of the same coin. They're both cautionary tales about what happens when you defy your place in the family structure. One story warns you with a laugh, showing a small rebellion gets you a temporary boot. The other warns you with tears, showing a huge transgression leads to permanent, total ruin.
But no matter how different the packaging is, the core message is the same. It all comes down to these key themes: family duty, female roles, transgression, and of course the consequences that follow when you step out of line.
So it leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? What does it really mean when our modern fables, whether they're funny or tragic, are still telling the same old story? It's something to think about, right? These timeless ideas about family and duty are being retold and reinforced every single day in the viral stuff we all watch and share.